Okay, we're live.
All right. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Wholesaling the Cool Way. This is episode number 11. This is our podcast with me and my dad. I'm Jasper and my dad, Mark Cool, where we share info, insights, tips, and tricks from our respective businesses about how we're growing our business and how you can hopefully do the same. And we like to kick it off usually with inspiration, maybe some highs and lows from the past week as well. Anything that inspired you, could be books or podcasts or other sources of inspiration. So do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, sure.
All
I'll
right.
just do brief personal highs and lows. A lot of pickleball for me this week, which makes me really happy. Played our league match yesterday, and we won 5-4. So that was fun. Beautiful weather here in North Carolina, so perfect weather for playing outside too. And then I played this morning with a bunch of guys. We had an 8-man round robin in a court nearby here, so that was super fun. Um, Other than that, I don't know. Ann and I went out to dinner on Friday. Went down to Hillsborough, which is our little historic town near here, and did the art walk and walked around and looked at some art and stuff. And then we went and had dinner at a place in downtown Hillsborough, Radius Pizza, which is really good. Um, and sometimes on Sunday I can't remember what happened the previous week. I worked a lot, played some pickleball. I went out to dinner, and that's about all I can think of. So I'll jump into inspiration, education. Um, I guess the biggest thing I'll touch on, and Jasper, you'll probably touch on this too, is this book we're reading, 10X is Easier Than 2X by Dan Sullivan and Ben Hardy. Highly recommend this book. It's awesome. It's inspiring me to change my mindset. Um, it really is a book about mindset shift. It's like, I think one of the points that I'm understanding or from what I've read so far is like 2x is just grinding and just trying to take the same numbers you have and like trying to do a little bit better, and 10x is going just blowing your mind and throwing everything out that doesn't work, like 80% of what doesn't work out, keeping the 20% that does, and radically changing the way you look at things. And one of the things for me that hit home was just like what you got you here won't get you there. Like what got you to where you are is not going to get you to where you want to go. And when you go to 10x, the path becomes very simple and clear, because when you're going to 2x, you're doing basically the same things but just a little bit more. But when you go to 10x, most of what you've been doing doesn't work, and you have to think. It simplifies it because there's really only one or two ways to get to 10xing what you're doing now. So simplifies it. It's scary. It means leaving old things behind, and means personal change. It means changing your business, but it's that radical kind of shift that's needed if you want to go 10x. And Ben Hardy is a great writer, and Dan Sullivan's concepts are awesome. So I highly recommend that. I've been reading it in the mornings before I work, and then it always inspires me to like grab my journal and write down some ideas, or do something like actions, make a list of actions I can take to try and grow my business. So pretty exciting. So I highly recommend that. And otherwise, I know I listened to something else from Hormozy this week. I can't remember. But then I was listening to a pickle podcast that I listened to, Pickle Pod, and the two guys who run it are both business majors. One's a professional pickleball player, and the other guy started a company called The Dink, which is in the pickleball space, and he's growing it. But anyway, they had this guy on, and this is just a fun little inspiration of having a business idea and running with it. This guy that they had on has this, uh, God, Swimplify is his business, like swimming pools. SWIM Swimplify, or maybe it's Swimbly. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of it. It might be Swimply or Swimbly or something like that. But anyway, his concept was his neighbor put in a swimming pool, and he was like in college, and him and his brother really wanted to use the pool, but she didn't want them to use it, and they were like, but they heard her complaining about the cost to maintain it and all this stuff. So they were like, well, what if we give you 25% of the maintenance and you let us swim in it when you're not using it? And she's like, okay. And so then
Yeah.
they started doing that. Have you heard of this business idea?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've heard this guy before? Yeah.
I haven't heard of him, but I heard of the business for sure.
Yeah. So then she starts selling access to other neighbors for the same price, and they're like, "Whoa, this is a business idea." So then they start going around town and getting agreements with all these swimming pool owners all around town, and they basically have they're basically pool pimps. They're like, somebody needs a swimming pool, they call them up, and they can pimp out the pool to somebody for a day or whatever for an event. And so then they got investment money from, they went to San Francisco and got VC money, and they got like $1 million at first. And now they have offices in like Sydney and LA and, multiple different locations around the country. And they're just grabbing swimming pools, and they have luxury ones. And then it's like Airbnb, like some of the people who have the pools are now adding experiences where you can have a chef come in and cook for you at the pool, or you can have, various different, upgrades with it. So then they were like, wow, pickleball is growing like crazy, and there are all these private backyard courts. So we're adding pickleball to our thing. So now they're doing the same thing with pickleball, and they have like 500 pickleball courts in their roster all over. They have like Austin and Los Angeles and New York and whatever. And you can go on their app and you can book a pickleball court for your function or your family or your group or whatever. So really fun idea, and cool that they just, the guy's like 26 years old, and he just came out of him thinking about just wanting to swim in the summer when it was hot. And then paying attention to like, oh, this woman just sold the same rights that we bought, to 5 other people. We could do that. So pretty cool. So that was inspiring to me. I always like seeing how people come up with business ideas and then, build them out. So
yeah, that's awesome.
I think that's it for me. Is that all we're doing is inspiration? And yeah.
Yeah.
All right. No, I'll do my business after you do your stuff.
Sounds good. Yeah, that's awesome. I love hearing about that.
I think it's Swimbly or Swimbly.
I didn't know that it was the same guy, because I knew that there was a pickleball thing too. I didn't know it was the same thing. So
yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
But they have another one. I don't know the name, but I think this was started before that concept, but it was for dogs. And so anyone with a fenced-in big yard, you can bring your dogs over to the house and run around and play.
Nice.
I forgot what it was called. It's like WAG, or maybe it was WAG or something. I don't know. But it's like the same idea, but with yards for dogs. It's pretty cute. And then like the people, same thing you were talking about, like people that have dogs will like let their dogs out and play with your dogs in the backyard and stuff.
Yeah.
So you can like, people that live in apartments, they can go and experience the yard for the dogs. So that was fun. But yeah, awesome. Well, I'll skip over checking in for 10x and 2x. You already checked in about that.
Yeah, but if you have any takeaways that I didn't cover.
Yeah, not off the top of my head right now, but I'm really enjoying that book. Right now I'm in a chapter where he talks about the different stages of an entrepreneur, and he goes from stage 1 through 4. And I like that he talks about self-managing company. I think that's stage 2 or stage 3, and then like stage 4 is like self-managing, but also they're growing it as well for you. And so he just talks about having everyone take responsibility for their departments and stuff, and just be self-managing, so you don't have to ever check in on them. Like they're the ones bringing you the KPIs and stuff. And, everything like that. So yeah, I've really been enjoying that book. It's like you said with the 10x versus 2x thing. With 2x, it's like he shared this in the beginning of the book, where he gave an example of someone was at a conference or something, and the
Hey, something happened with this.
Oh, okay.
Hold on a second. I'm going to refresh this.
Oh yeah.
Hey, so yeah, you were just about to give an example from the book, and then it started having like a robot sound. So if you don't mind starting over from there, I can edit the rest out.
Okay. Starting over from talking about the book.
Yeah, you were just going to give an example about that you were just saying about a self-managing business?
Yeah. Well, yeah, just real quick, I was just kind of compounding on what you said about the two experts 10x ideology, and that in the book he compares it to the seminar that someone was at where they ask, what's the best way to increase your business by 10%, or how can you increase your business by 10%? And someone in the attendance was like, well, that's the wrong question, because there's lots of different things you could do to increase your business by 10%. But when you're trying to increase your business by 10x, or whatever that is, 100%, or I don't know the percentage, but there's only a few things that you could do to get there. And so sometimes maybe even only one. So it actually simplifies things rather than having all these different avenues that you can take, So yeah, I like that. I like that mindset shift.
Yeah.
But other than that, I listened to this really awesome interview I'd recommend for anyone who's interested. But it was on Noah Kagan's YouTube channel. I like his interviews. I like him. So I like his interview style and stuff. But he interviewed this guy that I've heard of because half of his properties are here in Scottsdale. They're incredible. But basically, he started 30 plus businesses in his life. He told a story. His story is just super inspiring. He grew up homeless with his family from since he was a kid. They lived in the back of a tire shop, like a maintenance room, and they didn't have a shower. They just had a bathroom with a sink. So they'd have to wash up in the sink with a rag and stuff. But for him, he said it wasn't really, they went like homeless, but he said they were already living in the hood, and it wasn't really much of a downgrade for him at that time. Like looking back, he understands they were homeless, but during the experience, he didn't really know any better because they were already very poor. And so growing up, he had a bunch of successful businesses. Really cool hearing his story. He kind of reminds me of like Tim Ferriss or Derek Sivers, where he just is really, really good at like putting together businesses quickly and making them profitable. But it was inspiring to hear about his first business, which was he built like a website builder back when there was no website builders like Wix or Squarespace, stuff like that. So he was one of the first people to ever do it. But the problem was he built basically like a simple form on this like host or server that he created, and people would go on there, they would fill out how they wanted the website to look, and then it would go back to him, but he would have to do that because he didn't know how to write code to make it actually populate by itself when they fill out their form. So he was the one manually making all these websites. So he said he was making $1 million a month, but he was working nonstop. And so he said he was literally like sun up to sundown sitting at a desk behind a computer, just websites all day long. But obviously making a great income. And so then he was very young at that time. He was like 21. And so he said he just totally blew through that money and moved on.
Wow.
And started a bunch of other businesses. But one of the things that he shared was that he would start all these businesses and they were all profitable. Not all that successful, but they're all profitable. And then when he decided, like, okay, I don't want to do this anymore, he would literally just quit cold turkey and shut the business down instead of like trying to hire an operator. He said that was kind of his mistake looking back, but he would just,
or even sell the business.
Yeah, when he was ready to move on, he was just done, and he would literally just quit. And then the next day, he started something else.
What's this guy's name?
Man, I gotta look up his name. I think it's Brian Jenny or something. I'll look it up to be sure. But either way, then he built his most successful business, which is called RV Share. And so I think it's very similar to what you were just talking about, but for RVs. And so there's Airbnb, obviously, but there wasn't. It's Mark Jenny. His name is Mark Jenny. So he built this business called RV Share, and the idea is pretty much in the name, but you just, you could share RVs, like you can share people's houses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he got acquired for $100 million, and he had a few partners and stuff, so he was very candid that he didn't make 9 figures, but he did make 8 figures from that exit, so very good exit for him. And so then, at that point, he was much older. This is fairly recent, and, it's public. But he was much older and wise with his money and stuff. So he was like, well, after selling that company, I have enough money where I could invest it. I could live for the rest of my life. I don't really have to do anything else. But he wanted to. He loves business clearly. And so he started this amazing concept, which I'm sure people have knocked him off by now. But I found him like a while ago just because I like to surf Airbnb sometimes in Scottsdale because there's a bunch of cool ones here. But he does these amazing properties that I haven't seen anyone else do yet. And he'll just buy huge mansions with huge lots. And I'll have to send you some of his listings. But I think his company is called Resort Style Vacation Homes. But either way, the backyard has everything you can imagine. So like you can get an Airbnb in Scottsdale with a pickleball court. There's like thousands, right? Or an Airbnb in Scottsdale with a basketball court, thousands. Pool, thousands. But how many can you get with a basketball court, a pickleball court, shuffleball court, a kid's playground, a pool? His backyards have everything you could possibly imagine. Like they're incredible. He has the one he was doing the interview at in California is on 15 acres. They have a full baseball field at the property. Not only that, they have volleyball, basketball, pickleball, pool. They have multiple pools, full baseball field, like everything, everything. These properties are insane, and really, all things considered, like the prices are not that bad, really. But so that's his niche, right? He just makes these amazing experiences, and he was talking about it with Noah, where he was just like, he could basically retire, but instead he'd rather start a business. And he said like he really enjoys his business. He doesn't see himself ever shutting it down for himself, because like when these properties aren't rented out, or if he ever wanted to take a week for his family, like it's amazing properties that he can go all around the West Coast, and he can take his family and his friends, and they can all enjoy all these amenities that he's created and stuff. So he said it's really just like a passion project for him, but it's obviously very successful too. So that was really inspiring for me. That's what I was telling you, I think earlier offline, but he works 30 minutes to an hour a week. He does one meeting with his team and that's it. For all these properties, he's got 20 properties. I think he said the like property value is worth 20 million plus. And then he makes a bunch of income on the Airbnb side. But
yeah,
that was really cool, really inspiring for me.
Yeah, that's great.
And then just one other dude that I heard of this week, his name is Scott Morris. He has a company called Wamasu Leads, and his story was really cool. He started. Well, he had a bunch of different businesses also, but then he started wholesaling with a partner of his in Texas. And then after a few years doing that, they split, and he realized like he didn't want to be a wholesaler, but he realized that there was a need for better quality like cold calling and stuff. So he built a whole cold calling agency in Colombia. He lives there now with his family. And it was a really cool interview because he's in his office and behind him is just all his agents. He has like 250 people. And during the interview, like multiple times, every time they get a lead that's like below 70% of ARV, like what they call like a great lead, the whole team cheers. They're like ringing gongs. They're going crazy. And it was just so fun to watch. And, he's having a blast. And it's kind of like this other guy where it's like more of a passion project for him. They have a barbershop within his office. They have ping pong tables. They have pool tables, shuffleboard, like they have everything there. It's a beautiful office. They have an entire classroom. So they literally, like when someone comes in, they put them through a 6-week training course to even get on the phones. So they're literally in the classroom for 6 weeks, like 9 to 5, 6 weeks in the classroom, learning all the ins and outs. Because he's taking people that are raw from Colombia, know nothing about real estate, and within 6 weeks, they're like professional real estate cold callers, and they're hopping on the phone and stuff.
Nice.
It's really cool. Yeah, really cool to hear his story and how he's just attacking it from a different angle from everyone else. And he shared about Colombia, living there, and how much he loves it and stuff. So that was really cool and inspiring too.
Whose podcast was that?
It was on RJ Bates' podcast. He's like a big time wholesaler. But this guy was awesome too. His name was Scott Morris. But yeah, I really enjoyed that, both of those. But that is it for me.
Cool.
So I'll send those books to you if you want to check them out.
Sure.
But I had to send you some listings. If anybody's interested in looking up at some of these guys' properties, it's called Resort Style Vacation Homes. And there's some really cool properties.
Yeah, that sounds great.
And he has one that's specifically for kids where the backyard is like, it looks like like the car rugs that I used to have when I was younger.
Yeah.
It has the roads, it literally looks like that. The backyard looks like that. It looks like one of those car rugs, and it has like little cars where the kids can get in and ride around. It's
nice.
Insane. Yeah. So some really cool properties. But yeah.
That's fun.
So do you want to move into business check-in and kick us off?
Sure. Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, I guess I'll just recap the week or let's see. I'm looking at some notes. I had some KPI reports from my team for monthly too, so that's mixed in here. But this week, as far as deals, we closed one deal. We sold two this week. One of them we sold like right after we got it. under contract and got it through our post-contract review. So that was great. We're having that happen more and more often where we have enough VIP buyers on our list where we can get a property and go, oh yeah, Justin will buy this one. And we just send it over and it's like, yeah, sign me up, here's the EMD. So that's always
awesome.
fun when, and then I'm like, oh, did we charge too little for that one? But anyway, I think in our per deal is up a little bit too. We're going for a higher per deal assignment fee because we've been too low to really hit the goals that we want to hit as a business. So we're just saying no to more deals and trying to increase the margins on our deals. So
Awesome.
yeah, we sold 2, closed 1. I don't know, contracts this week. I actually didn't check my contracts. I think we got 2 contracts this week. We've been going pretty well with contracts. We had a setback this week again where we are. It's funny because we had launch controls down for us. They blocked us from being able to send batches. We're in our 10th week now of being suspended in launch control. So then we went over to Smarter Contact. We have an account there, and got really excited because we've been texting and sending ringless voicemail and getting leads and contracts and stuff. We had 3, 4, 5 contracts in the last 3 weeks prior to this one. And then this last week, Smarter Contact is down. And their whole entire system is down. And they sent us a notice last minute and they said, hey, we're upgrading. So you're going to have a better response rate and this and that, but it's going to take us about a week. So sorry about that. It wasn't even like a heads up or anything. I think what happened is they thought they could do it without any downtime. And then they went to do it and everything crashed. And then they're like, oh, sorry, we're upgrading you. So everything will be good, but you don't have anything for a week. So, so that's been a bummer. So we've been back to trying to scrape stuff up from, I'm trying to look at my contracts. Yeah, we got 2 contracts this week and we sold one of them immediately. And then the other one's one that we'd been working on for a while that came through this week. So that's good. And we got one of the contracts was from a direct mail campaign that we did 4 or 5, 6 months ago. So it's one of the benefits of direct mail is we're still getting leads and contracts from stuff we sent out 5 months ago. So I'm going to get some more.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I'm skipping around a little bit, but the thing with Smarter Contract just made me determined to not have SMS be our only lead, our only marketing source, for leads, even though we have 2 SMS platforms and theoretically we would have one working if the other one wasn't, but now both are down. So I'm committing to myself and my team to send out direct mail every month, whether or not we need it, just to send out, just to have another channel going consistently. And my team's been doing a great job of going through Podio, looking at all our different lead categories, making sure everybody's in a follow-up sequence. If people aren't in a follow-up sequence, putting them in there, reaching out to leads that might have gone unattended to. So we've been doing a lot of that over the last few weeks of downtime. So that's been really good to get us more organized. So that's the gold that comes out of the challenge, the silver lining. But funny that both text platforms are down. But yeah, I think that's as far as KPIs in business. I don't have a lot this week. That looking at the year so far, we looked at in September we sent out 35 offers. We got 12 contracts, so that's the month, right? So, and that's a slow month with a lot of downtime. It's a good conversion rate. And then we've closed, just looking, I'm still skipping around, but I was looking at closed deals. We've closed 35 deals so far this year. Last year, I think we closed 23 for the entire year. So we're, pushing double the closed deals and probably surpass that. So that's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Other than that, I already mentioned that as far as victories, our systems guru has been doing a great job of workflows in Podio and making sure all our leads are managed properly. And our acquisitions team's been doing great at that. And then, I don't know if I have any other big victories. It's a brief business check-in. I don't have any major topics. I don't even have any major challenges. We can talk about the major challenges, downtime, and we have 3 months left before the end of the year, and we're way, way behind pace on our annual revenue goal. So What I'm doing to compensate for that is sending more direct mail. We'll upgrade our ringless voicemail and our text once we're back online, which should be early this week. And then we're going to do some more campaigns for properties with buildings on them rather than just vacant land. I think we can probably make some bigger assignment fees on some of the houses than we do on land as an average. So I'm going to do some of that, and I may even look into doing some sub two because I'm good at that, and I just have put it on the back burner because we've been focused on land. But the acquisitions team is doing well at managing the leads that we're having right now and getting contracts. So it may be time to branch out into some other avenues like that.
Yeah.
So, and I love doing sub two. It's just I just haven't wanted to divert the team's resources, while we're getting in a groove. But we're in a pretty good groove with land. But yeah, my biggest challenge is being behind schedule and having had the SMS go down multiple times, with launch control and smarter contact, and restrict our lead flow. And then, like I said, our per deal average has been very low. So 35 closed deals is great, but our average deal has been low enough that that's not getting us to where we want to be with revenue. So got to ramp that up. But I'm getting a lot of good ideas from the 10X is easier than 2X book. So I'm just going to implement stuff. And we're going to go for a much bigger fourth quarter. And just see if we can 10X our fourth quarter instead of just trying to get a little bit better.
Yeah, fourth quarter's here now.
Yeah, today.
It's go time.
Yeah, it's go time. It's been go time, but it's really go time now. But yeah, I think that's all I got. I don't know if I have any tools or tips or tricks for the listeners. I don't know if I've been helpful at all, but please, folks, if you're listening, we both do a lot of deals every year, so we're here to help. And if you have questions or things that you're struggling with or challenges, reach out to us because we'd love to have some input as to like what to talk about or address on a podcast that'll be of service. So, leave us some comments. We're happy to help or speak to specific topics. But yeah, I'll turn it over to you, Jasper, for your business check-in.
Alrighty. Well, one of my buddies had his launch control finally came back up this past week, so hopefully yours will come up soon.
How long was he down? Do you know?
He was down for the same time as you. You guys were in sync.
Okay.
His came up last week. So
yeah, we've been down 10 weeks.
Hopefully that means yours will come up soon.
Yeah.
But I can switch over. Funny because that was one of my victories, but now I definitely don't want to rub it in. But one of the victories for me, I'll just put it away, was that we signed up for the higher account and launched the enterprise. And so going forward, we'll have more text to send out every day. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
Because I realized that the launch control we were on shut off a week before the end of the month for some reason, which was weird. So I don't remember what our previous monthly limit was. I think it was 100K messages in a month. But we would hit that a week later. So on our last meeting, I had already maxed out one of my launch control accounts, which I didn't like because the last week of the month we kept having no text from that one account in particular, which is weird. We couldn't send text as weird as our monthly limit.
Yeah.
So I upgraded that one to 195,000 per month now. So we'll see how that goes.
Are you monitoring your text per minute and stuff like that?
Yeah, the team does that for me. So they send out just a patch every 30 minutes. That's what they're doing. And then launch still staggers it. Even with that, they still stagger it. So, but I'm excited about that. So that was good. And it was a super easy process. I thought it was gonna be much harder. I thought I had to book a Zoom call and talk to them and stuff. But the dude just called me up and wanted me to upgrade. So that was nice. And then other victories. The property in Hickory that I had, the rental, I found a contractor for that, so I'm going to flip that one, and he'll be done probably mid-October, maybe end of October, and sell that. I have that, so I'm excited about that.
What did you have to do to it?
They totally trashed the place, so I just have to basically renovate it.
Did you keep their security deposit?
Yeah, I think the management company has that, but it's not going to do anything. It's like $900, you know. But yeah, so that just solidifies it for me. I already didn't want to buy more rentals, but no, I definitely don't.
That's too bad.
Yeah, I'm excited about that though. He's gonna take up the carpet, put down LVP, and he's gonna paint the whole house. Obviously, he's gonna do new siding all on the outside, and just boost up the curb appeal with that. And then he's gonna do a little bit of landscape and stuff. And other than that, everything's pretty good because I already replaced the HVAC, deck, new appliances throughout while they were there. So I think it's gonna be a pretty decent house. So we'll see.
So they didn't trash the appliances.
We'll see.
They
I'm
just
excited about that, and appreciate the realtor helping me connect me with that guy. So I appreciate that. He's been very helpful. But yeah, other than that, we closed one this week. That was a victory. That was a smooth closing with Chris Papadopoulos. I appreciate working with him. I've had some not so smooth closings lately, so working with him is almost always smooth. Although, shout out to Chris if you ever listen to this. He never deposits his earnest money, but he always closes. So I don't give him a hard time anymore, but it's always fun working with him. I enjoy it. So yeah, that was nice to close that one. And then had some other just good news on some deals we've been working on for quite a while. So there's one deal. Tenants are finally moving out next week. This is one that we're trying to wholesale, but we've obviously been waiting for them to move out. So finally we have a date on the 6th of next week that we move out, and then we can get a lot of products and hopefully sell that one soon. And then another one we've been working on for quite some time. Finally got a closing scheduled for this following week. And that's been like since June, maybe we contracted that one, June or July. And we're finally going to be able to close that one. So that's exciting. And then, another one that I got under contract for over a month now. The seller had COVID, so we still haven't even got pictures of that property, but finally she's feeling better and we're going to get pictures this coming week, so then I can finally sell that property. There's been a bunch of properties that have been kind of stagnant in the pipeline, and now they're finally seem to be making traction, so I'm excited about that. And then another victory was this other deal I had in Hickory. This was one that came back to me that I told you about out of nowhere. Came back to me, seller was ready to sell. And I don't really have as many buyers in Hickory, so I ended up working with the New Western office in Charlotte, which I've never really worked with before. But they're super good, and it seems like a quite different experience than the New Western people in the whatever it's called, like the Triangle area, Piedmont area. So they've been awesome. Also, their attorney has been outstanding. She just reached out to me and she said that there was all this error paperwork that she needed to do. And she was like, hey, just an update. There was all this title stuff that we need to deal with. I've already dealt with it, and it's all done, and we're closing next week. And it was just a stark contrast for me, so I really appreciate that. Working with those guys, so I might have to do some more deals with that attorney.
So did you reach out to New Western yourself, or did they reach out to you?
Yeah, I reached out to them because I tried to sell it myself, and I was just not getting any good offers. So I reached out to them. I sold them today. It was really nice. So yeah, I don't really market out that way much in the Charlotte area anymore. So I don't really have a need to work with them, but it's kind of making me want to do some campaigns out there. So it seems to be very good, very different. But yeah, so that was good. And then the lady that's working on my Podio, that's been a victory for me this week too. I had a couple of just small issues with Podio. Noticed some glitches going on. I didn't know if that was because she was working on it in the background or whatever, but anytime I had an issue, I would just reach out to her and she would immediately fix it behind the scenes. That was really cool.
Nice.
It's cool to have a tech person on the team now. Even though she's not on my team, but she's there for help if I need it. So that's really nice.
Yeah.
And then the last victory was that one deal that I've been in a lawsuit for a while. Looks like we could finally close next week, so that's exciting.
And this is the specific performance where you sued the seller because he wouldn't sell.
Yeah, so that brings me to challenges with that deal. I'm going to get some feedback from you. So we finally got the seller info packet from the seller, and he finally sent it into the attorney on I think Thursday or Friday this past week. And so that was awesome because I had just spoke to my attorney who was helping me with the specific performance earlier in the week. And I was like, dude, because we had a close date scheduled for the 29th, this past Friday, but there was just like no traction happening, and so it was like literally Tuesday this past week, and I was like, dude, they still don't have a seller info packet. Like, we have no word from the seller. Like, is there anything we can do to escalate this litigation to actually like get him to follow through? Because I think this is our fourth time trying to schedule a closing, and it's like still not closed.
Yeah.
Every time he just blows it off. And so, funny enough, like I reached out to him, and then within like a day or two, he had sent on all the information and stuff. So I don't know what he said to him, but he definitely helped the process along, I'm sure. And so, but that brings me to the challenge, because at first, like earlier on in this process, I was like, I'm going to buy this property and put it on MLS. And then, like, as he blew us all multiple times, I was like, I don't know if this is ever going to close. So I kind of just forgot about it for a while, and I was following up with my other attorney about it every couple of weeks. But then I ended up wholesaling it to this buyer because he gave me the price that I thought I would get on the market. I got from this buyer of mine, and so I ended up wholesaling to him. But then obviously we had to delay. And so I told the buyer, like, literally last week, I thought, I was like, dude, I'm so sorry. I don't know, like, when we're going to be able to close this. I told him the situation and stuff. And then, of course, he comes back around to the table. And so then I reached back out to him on Friday, and I was like, okay, can we close, like, next week? And he was like, well, I thought we were going to be closing this one for a while. And so now, like, I don't know if he's going to be ready to close next week. The seller's trying to come in and sign on Tuesday. I don't know if they're going to be ready. And so that's why I wanted to bring up to you. Is if like I should close on it first and then just resell it to this guy, because like I don't want to be in a position where then the seller and his attorney, because he hired an attorney, can turn around and be like, well, no, he didn't perform, and I don't want to lose all of this progress that we made and all the money that I spent on this. So it's like, I don't know what's the threshold there, like, because like I said, we got the documents back, I believe it was Thursday. And so Thursday to Tuesday, that is kind of a pretty fast turnaround, especially when we haven't heard from this guy in months. So I don't know if they would give us like a little bit longer, or if you think that I should just close it on Tuesday just to like to not risk losing the deal altogether. It's also like it's risky on the buyer side too, because I don't really trust the seller at all, and I don't want him to like close and then do something weird, like try to change the locks or something, or try to like not give us the property or something. I don't know. I just feel like I don't trust this guy at all. So
yeah,
I don't know the best way to proceed.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, the priority is getting the seller signed, because he's been so flaky and so unreliable.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you don't even know that he's going to come in on Tuesday and sign.
That's true. That's true.
But if he does sign, then like, is he going to expect his money the same day?
Probably. You know how these sellers are.
Yeah.
That's how sellers are before all this stuff. But now he's been dealing with this for a few months, so it's probably gonna switch, and he's gonna be the one like pursuing us. Like, when are we closing it now? So I don't know. So maybe I can just talk to my other attorney, the one who's doing the litigation, and ask him what he thinks. But
yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. It's a little bit of a nail biter, but it sounds like just hanging out to see what he's actually going to do. I don't want to plant seeds of doubt, but like, I mean, what would it take for you to close it if you have to close it? Like, if he actually comes in on Tuesday and signs everything, could you close it on Wednesday? Like, could you?
Yeah, I could close it myself. I don't have the lender lined up anymore because, like I said, I was going to wholesale it, but I could close on it myself and do that. Like I said, I was just kind of nervous to do that. Like, I would want to verify with our closing attorney that he's dropped off the keys and like everything.
Yeah, right. So that's what I'm saying is like that guy can dangle a little bit. You don't need to be right there. Yeah. The biggest thing is to get him to sign, right? Like, he shows up and he signs, and you tell him, oh yeah, we're closing on Tuesday. But hey, if you close on Wednesday, that's too bad. I'm just saying, like, he's jerked you around so much that, like, if it happens Wednesday, that's not the end of the world, and it gives you a chance to make sure that the keys are dropped off, that he actually signs the paperwork, all that stuff. So I would and it gives you a little bit of leeway to see where your buyer is at. And there's also, I don't want to plant a seed of doubt, but there's also a chance that this guy's going to flake again and not close on Tuesday. So you don't want to go crazy on your side, setting up a lender, and then, maybe mess up your credibility with a lender and all this stuff too. Plus, if you close yourself, it's going to cost you more money and your profit's going to be less. So if you can,
that's why I don't really do it.
Yeah, if you can get the buyer to do it, then it's better to get the buyer to do it. But it really, at this point, hinges on the seller doing what he said he was going to do, which he hasn't had a track record of doing yet. So I would, kind of wait for him to show you his cards and actually sign it. And then, if you're confident that you can act quickly enough to get a lender and close on Wednesday, if he actually signs on Tuesday, then, I would have that as a backup plan,
Yeah.
And then if your buyer can come through, then, that's great. You don't have to close on your own and you make a little bit more money. But depending on your relationship with the buyer, you can say, hey, this guy is supposed to be signing on Tuesday. So if he does that, can you close on Tuesday or Wednesday? Would it work for you? You can see where he's at with that.
Yeah. What do you think? Like, how long do you think is too long? Like, to say, for example, perfect scenario, he does sign Tuesday. Like, how long do you think I should wait before I just close on myself?
I don't know. I mean, he's going to probably make some noise, like you said, but are you protected in your contract for non-performance? Because he could turn around and sue you for non-performance, right? Which is not a big deal because you already have an attorney intact, and he's going to just talk to the other attorney and say, hey, this is a joke. This guy's been a jerk. He's not really going to do anything.
I don't know the grounds for non-performance.
Well, if your contract is saying that you promised to close by a certain date, I don't know if you keep extending this or doing addendums or what you're doing.
No, there's been no addendums because he wouldn't sign anything.
Yeah, so there's nothing. So it's all just verbal at this point. So you're not really in breach if you don't close on Tuesday. So then
we never like him and I or me and my attorney that's handling the litigation or anything. We never communicated with him or his attorney agreeing to close on Tuesday. He reached out to Gold Dollar closing attorney and said I can come out on Tuesday afternoon. So we never communicated with Gold Dollar or the seller or the other attorney. Hey, we're closing on Tuesday. So that's.
So you're probably covered from a legal standpoint as far as, oh yeah, we'll get this done for you, Wednesday or Thursday or whatever, I just feel like, not to be a jerk, but this guy's been a royal pain. And if he has to wait a day or two or three to get his money, he's going to get his money. But, he can wait and throw a tantrum if he needs to do that. But I don't think he can do anything to you. So.
Yeah, that's a good feedback. Maybe I'll just see what happens, see how it plays out, and then I'll just see how much of a pain he becomes if he does sign on Tuesday. Like if he's beating down the walls or if he's patient to wait a few days. I'll just see, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm excited overall. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Because either way, whether I have to close on it or whether I close on it, it's still a decent deal even after attorney fees and stuff. And I don't think I mentioned to you I had to put a $7,500 retainer with the other.
Yeah.
I don't think they've used anywhere near that amount, so I think I'll also get a decent refund of that. So that would be nice.
It's funny because the specific performance case that I filed, the retainer was $1,500.
Yeah, I know. You told me that.
And I got $300 of that back. But
that's awesome.
But I didn't win the specific performance, so I lost $1,200 on it. But but anyway, it's just a big difference. But for anybody who's listening, specific performance is like if you can sue your seller for not performing on their contract if they don't sell by the date, or if they try and pull out and not sell the property after they already signed a contract that said they would. You can sue them for a specific performance, and that's what Jasper's talking about. And you generally just hire an attorney and they take a retainer and they file some papers in the court and they pursue the contract and make the seller sell, which actually the judge will do, if they've signed a contract. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what he told me the next steps were after I spoke to him. He said that, if we don't close again this time, then actually going to court and having the judge, order a closing or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But, thank you for the feedback on that.
Sure.
Other than that, I wanted to ask you briefly about my cold calling. I was going over my numbers, obviously, for the quarter and the year and everything. And cold calling has just been not doing well for us this year at all. I hired new people in, let's see, July, and end of August. So July, August, September. So it's been about 3 months of the first two, and then I hired one about a month ago at the end of August. So I was trying to give those guys, like 90 days to kind of see if some deals come in. Maybe I should give them a bit longer. But I'm just at the point now where I'm just considering shutting it off because I think we're like 2.5, maybe 3. I think it's like 2.5 on the year in terms of ROI. And it's just like, I don't know. Obviously, I'm not losing money, obviously, but it's just like, why? And I look at it, I'm spending a lot of money, because the dollar is expensive, cold call is expensive.
Yeah.
And, I'm making 2.5x, which I don't want to be like greedy or whatever, but obviously I want to get the best return.
It's inefficient. Yeah. And when you're looking at 10x versus 2x.
Way higher than that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 2.5x is not going to get you anywhere fast. That's a total grind. So when I look at that, obviously, like I said, I made the change last quarter to hire new cold callers and give them a shot. So I don't want to pull the plug early on them. So maybe I should last it out to the end of the year, but just to see if, some of their leads will pan out, because I know it takes time. But I'm just thinking of shutting it down. So just to know if you had any feedback on that.
Yeah, I guess when you say that, my thought is that, my experience with direct mail, I think maybe a similar might be with the cold calling in our market. I just, if you're listening, Jasper and I both work in North Carolina, and it's a super hot market, from a nationwide standpoint. And I think that it's just really saturated. And I think people are getting calls all the time. Like when we talk to people in Durham and Wake County, because all the new people from not North Carolina, from other regions come in and go, oh, Durham and Raleigh are hot. I'm going to try and get properties there. And people have been trying to get properties in Durham and Raleigh for, a long time now. So the market's way saturated. And I think that, it might just be a similar thing to what I saw with direct mail, where 3 years ago I was doing direct mail and getting like 2% response rate. And now I do direct mail and get 0.5% response rate. And I just think a lot of people in North Carolina, in the markets that you're working in, are getting a lot of cold calls, and they're just burned out, and they just, doesn't matter how good your cold callers are, or how good the lists you pull are. I think your response rate is just going to go down, and your ROI is going to go down. Your cost per lead is going to be high. And if text is working, then maybe, I would not advocate, this is like one of the themes for today for me, of like not putting all your eggs in one basket for marketing channels, but maybe you did mention PPC. Maybe it's time to do a little bit PPC and see what you can do. Or maybe you throw out some direct mail and see what you can do with that. Like I said, my direct mail hasn't been awesome, but it might cost you less than your cold calling. I don't have my numbers in front of me for direct mail, but I think it's better than what you're getting on cold calling still. Actually, it is, our profit on our direct mail deals is definitely better. But so yeah, it might be worth it to just shut it down. You've already doubled down on text once, but I would just advocate for having backup channels in case, God forbid, anything happened to your launch control where you needed other leads. Having something else as a backup. But I wouldn't discourage you from shutting it down, especially when we're talking about going into a 10x mindset rather than a 2x mindset, because you're literally doing 2x, with cold calling. And so when in the book, in this book, returning to the book we talked about at the top, the 10x is easier than 2x. Like they talk about the 80-20 principle, which a lot of people talk about in principle in business, which is, 20% of your customers or 20% of your efforts are getting you 80% of your results, and 80% of your efforts or your customers or whatever are getting you 20% of your results. So can you take that 80% away that's kind of a waste of your time and energy, and focus on the 20% that's really getting you, what you want? And so that right now the text is your 20%, and the cold calling is in that 80% of spending money, grinding your wheels, and not necessarily getting a great result. And like you said, you don't want to there might be people listening to this podcast going, damn, I'd love to get 2 times my money back. I've never closed a deal yet. I've only
Yeah.
closed a couple of deals. So that's great. But like when you're talking about getting, what are you getting, like 8 or 9x on text now? Is that what you said last time?
Yeah, over 10x
Yeah.
on the year.
Yeah, and mine's lower than that because our per deal average has been low, but we're still at like 6 or 7x, which means every dollar we spend, we're getting $6 or $7 back, you know. So,
Yeah.
and I think once we get some more data on RVM, we're going to be much higher on RVM than we are on direct mail, or you know, we might be right up there with text. We still have a small sample size, but it's been good so far. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's hard. I don't want to let go of those guys, you know, but I probably should. I was just looking at myself. I was kicking myself because it's like, dude, I spent $53,000 on cold calling, and if my ROI holds true, then that would mean I would make $500,000 in revenue if I spent that on texting, right? And so I just looked at myself and I'm just like, Jesus, man.
Yeah.
It's frustrating. It feels like when I look at my numbers, that's like my upper limit problem, like holding myself back, spending all that money on cold calling. It's clearly not working. You know, it's not working. I'm not losing money, but it's like, you know, it's not working. So, but at the same time, it's like I talked to a couple of my buddies that are also in North Carolina, and their business is almost opposite mine, which is why I've continued, because they tell me over and over, cold calling is crushing it, cold calling is crushing it. I do all my deals from cold calling, all this stuff, and so I'm like, well, it's clearly not. It's not the channel, right? It's something I'm doing wrong, because these guys are in the same market having great success, and so
their ROI is better than yours.
Oh yeah, they close all their deals from cold calling. Their ROI it's like mine. It's like 10x on cold calling and nothing on text.
Wow, crazy.
And so I don't know, you know, what we're doing on text and get good results. And in the same vein, I don't know what they're doing different on cold calling. Like, you know, he told me we already hired this cold caller, so I could just go and hire the same cold callers, maybe. But at this point, I just feel kind of burnt out on it. But at the same time, like I said, I hired 3 people in Q2, and I don't want to not give them a fair runway. Because, you know, I did let go of multiple cold callers earlier this year, and then we closed. Well, I've only closed a few deals from cold calling, but it was from those people I let go earlier, because the leads just needed time to, you know, like pan out, I guess.
It takes a while, yeah.
So, yeah. So I just look at that, especially when we're talking about trying to have a big fourth quarter and trying to 10x and stuff, and I'm just looking at this and I'm like, man, like I wish I would have just not done that and just doubled down on texting earlier. Like, it's taking me this long to even upgrade to an enterprise account when that's clearly the best thing that's working for me right now. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Looking back at it, but that's okay.
So I was wrong about cold calling being like what I said about the market being saturated with cold callers. If you got people who are doing well with it still.
Yeah, so I know every channel, you know, works different for different people.
Yeah.
That's why I mentioned to you earlier in the inspiration section, the guy named Scott Morse, because he obviously runs a cold calling company, but his package is, he definitely read the 10x versus 2x thing, because his package for cold calling costs $10,000 a month. That's not even his highest package. $10,000 a month for cold calling. It's like Jesus. Like, I'm not trying to spend that on cold calling. I'll spend that on PPC or text or something. But I mean, his clients do get results, so I don't know. But, yeah. That's it. I can stop ranting about that.
I guess there's a little bit more of a human element with the cold calling and the training and the sales and all that stuff, you know. Like it's a little bit more automated with text, even though you've got people running the text. Like they have all the quick replies and they have all the follow-up sequences all done for them, so they don't have to do much other than to pass it on to a closer who's trained, right? But
yeah,
with
cold
calling,
say, you know, the cold calling for me, because I'm managing my own callers, like it takes me. It's like you said, it's the 80% versus 20%. Like it takes me way more time on a weekly basis to manage the cold calling department than to manage the texting department.
Yeah,
like that section of my business, the SMS team, they're outstanding. That's literally the example of managing business within my business. Like those 4 guys, they're all friends. They're all in Pakistan. They're outstanding. They crush it. And they help me with templates. And they help me with monitoring my response rate, our drip sequences, and all this stuff. They crush it. And it's like I check in on launch control on Saturdays usually. And I check in, look at our sponsor and everything. I check in once a week. With cold calling, it's like every single day. It's taking me way more time. It's getting me no results. So, yeah. I think the writing's on the wall, but I feel bad about letting these guys go. So maybe I could transition them to texters.
Yeah, you could possibly, if they're good people, you could transition them into texting. And the other thought is, you have friends who are doing wholesaling. Maybe they're looking for other callers too.
Yeah. Definitely. Awesome. Well, thank you for the feedback.
Yeah.
We can move on now. Close it out. Do you want to share any quotes or any appreciations?
Yeah, I don't know if I have any quotes. I didn't read the newsletter thing. I thought I had written down a quote from this from the book there, but I don't know. Yeah, I guess no, I'm good. I don't have any quotes. As far as appreciations, I appreciate doing this business check-in and doing one face-to-face. We missed last week because last week was when my power went down, right? And we just did a phone check-in. I think that was that, yeah. Or no, last week I had a tournament the week before the power went down. I don't remember. A couple of weeks off.
Yeah.
It's good to see you again. Appreciate people who are listening. We did get a couple more subscribers on YouTube, so that's nice. So thanks everybody for listening, and please give us feedback and questions and comments, because we would love to have be able to help people with what they're looking for help with, or speak to things. We're still new at this, so just trying to get better and bring value however we can. But I appreciate people listening and watching, and I appreciate this beautiful, perfect weather in North Carolina, and the puppy. My mom's got a puppy that lives on the property here with me, and she's great. She's a joy. She comes in. I start work really early. I get out here to my office at like 5:30 usually in the morning, and the puppy, after my mom goes on the morning walk or lets her out, she comes over and says good morning to me every morning, and she comes in all wagging and cuddles up next to me, and I pet her and stuff, and it's really sweet. So I always appreciate that. Ton of joy and love. But yeah, that's it for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you for doing this with me again. I always enjoy doing this with you. I appreciate the feedback. And I appreciate the weather here as well. It's been really nice lately. I've really been enjoying walking the dogs again in the morning. And funny enough, we've been seeing a lot of horses lately. I guess they're coming back because the weather's nicer. I don't know.
Yeah.
But we've been seeing horses on the road and on the trail, and we saw horses being unloaded in our neighborhood the other day, which was funny. The trailer pulled up to someone's house over here. And it's like, our yards aren't that big here, but I guess they have a bigger yard than us. I don't know. But someone was unloading 2 horses literally right in front of their house. It's funny.
Wow.
But so I've been appreciating the weather here, and like I said, I just mentioned it, but I really appreciate my team. I appreciate my cold callers too. They're great people. I really appreciate everyone on my team, and especially noticing, this past week as we upgraded our launch control account to just hit the ground running with the new limit and just still crushing it. So I really appreciate those guys, and how hands off that has been for me. It's been really nice. So like you said, it's at 20%. So I'm gonna try to double down on that and see how it goes. But yeah.
Nice.
And I appreciate us being 9 months down and 3 more to go this year. Still got a chance to hit our goals, so I'm excited.
Still got a little bit of runway. Yeah.
Yep. Still got time to 10x, so we will see. And everyone, thank you for listening. If you have any stuff you want us to touch on next week, feel free to drop a comment below. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Awesome. Oops.